The story begins in Riku Kuromine's classroom, where there were two very popular girls. The first was a beautiful and cute girl named Ayana Hoshimiya. The second was his childhood friend, Haruno, who got along with everyone. Today was the day Riku had planned to confess his feelings to Haruno. Riku had a painful past. When he was young, he lost his entire family in an accident: his father, mother, and little sister. After that, he was left completely alone and lost the will to keep living. During those difficult years, Haruno was the one who supported him. She helped him get back on his feet and stayed by his side the whole time. Because of that, Riku believed that if she accepted his feelings, they could stay together forever and become a family. In his heart, he hoped to regain the happiness he had lost and build a brighter future with her. However, things did not go the way he wanted. Haruno rejected his confession. She told him that she only saw him as a childhood friend and could never think of him in a romantic way. The rejection crushed Riku. As he walked away, he felt like he had lost his reason to live. The future he had imagined with Haruno had completely fallen apart before his eyes. For Riku, that future had been the only thing pushing him forward. Now, he no longer wanted to live. The place where he decided to spend his final moments was a spot he often visited for picnics. It was filled with precious memories, and he hoped he could die peacefully there. On the way, however, his stomach suddenly started hurting. Because of that, he stopped at a convenience store. Holding his stomach, Riku entered the store and was greeted by the cashier. He quickly apologized and rushed to the bathroom. After some time, he came back out. The moment he stepped outside, he found a robber pointing a knife at the cashier and threatening her. The robber demanded all the money from the register. Riku immediately understood what was happening. Since he was planning to die anyway, he thought that maybe saving the cashier could be the final good deed of his life. Perhaps then he could meet his family again in heaven. To get the robber's attention, Riku made a strange sound behind him. The robber turned around. "Hi," Riku casually said. The robber stared at him in disbelief and shouted, asking what he meant by that. Riku calmly told him not to yell so loudly. The robber angrily demanded to know why he was there. "I just used the bathroom," Riku replied. Even the robber was confused by his response and asked if he understood the situation. Riku nodded and casually said that it was obviously a robbery. His calm attitude only made the robber more irritated. He shouted and asked if Riku thought he was some kind of special agent. Riku replied that he was just a normal high school student who was looking for death. The robber was stunned. Then he warned Riku not to underestimate him and said that he would really kill someone if necessary. While the cashier trembled in fear, Riku calmly told the robber to do it. He explained that he had already lost his family in an accident. The childhood friend who meant everything to him had just rejected him. His life felt completely meaningless now. Riku even grabbed the robber's hand and told him to kill him if he was serious. However, he had one request. He asked the robber not to hurt the cashier afterward. Otherwise, he said he would curse him even after death. The cashier was shocked by his words. The robber, on the other hand, became genuinely frightened. In the end, he ran away. Despite all his threats, he did not have the courage to go through with it. Watching him leave, Riku wondered what was wrong with that guy. He seemed like an easy target. Either way, he turned to the cashier and asked if she was okay. The cashier then surprised him by asking if he was Riku Kuromine. Confused, Riku asked how she knew his name. She introduced herself and revealed that she was Ayana Hoshimiya, a classmate from his school. Riku was shocked. Ayana Hoshimiya was one of the most popular girls in their class. Both boys and girls admired her. Looking at her more carefully, he realized she really was Ayana. Still, he was surprised by how different she looked while working at the convenience store. Ayana then asked him to wait until the owner arrived because the police would need to ask him some questions. Although Riku felt a little annoyed, he agreed. A while later, the store owner arrived along with the police. The owner was a rather unusual woman. While she spoke with the officers, Ayana approached Riku. She told him that he was amazing for scaring away the robber and thanked him for saving her life. However, Riku corrected her. He explained that everything he said was true. He really had lost his family in an accident, and he really had been rejected by his childhood friend. Ayana was shocked to learn that he had been serious. A little later, Riku started walking away. Before he could leave, Ayana stopped him. Quietly, he asked what was wrong. With tears forming in her eyes, Ayana told him that he was incredible for surviving everything he had gone through. She said that if she had lost her family and the people important to her, she didn't think she could have kept living. Even though she felt it wasn't her place to say it, she sincerely begged him to keep living. Her words warmed Riku's heart. For the first time in a while, he smiled. He told her that he wouldn't die. Ayana immediately brightened up and asked if he really meant it. Riku promised that he did. Trying to lighten the mood, he jokingly called her a crybaby and asked if she was going to cry every time she got robbed. Ayana admitted that she had been terrified after hearing him talk about wanting to die. Riku then told her that he was simply glad she hadn't been hurt. She thanked him once again for helping her. Since she was still holding on to him, Riku politely asked her to let go. The truth was that he felt a little nervous. After all, this was the first time a girl other than Haruno had ever touched him. Ayana quickly apologized. Riku told her not to worry about it. In fact, he said that he should be the one thanking her for caring so much about him. Riku then asked Ayana if her house was nearby. She replied that it was about a 15-minute bike ride away. Ayana then asked him the same question. Riku answered that it would take nearly 3 hours to get back to his house. He casually added that he had only come this far because he had originally planned to end his life. Ayana immediately told him to stop saying things that worried her so much. Besides, a 3-hour trip home was way too far. She asked if he lived with anyone who could pick him up. Unfortunately, Riku lived alone. On top of that, he only had 5 yen left in his pocket. Ayana commented that his situation sounded pretty rough. However, Riku smiled and said it wasn't all bad. After all, those 5 yen had led him to meet her. Ayana laughed and said he was surprisingly funny. Then she suddenly asked if he would like to come to her house. Riku was completely shocked by the unexpected invitation. Ayana quickly assured him that she lived alone, so there was nothing to worry about. Even so, Riku became extremely nervous. The thought of a boy and a girl being alone in the same house made him overthink everything. Just then, the store owner joined the conversation. She said it might actually be a good idea because Ayana had been dealing with some strange problems lately. According to her, Ayana had noticed suspicious shadows around her house. There had even been a time when someone stole her underwear. Ayana insisted that it was probably just the wind or some misunderstanding. The owner disagreed. She was convinced that someone was stalking Ayana, secretly watching and following her. Because of that, she asked Riku if he could stay at Ayana's house for the night as a bodyguard. Riku didn't mind the idea at all, and the plan was quickly settled. However, Ayana felt bad about dragging him into her personal problems. Riku shook his head and said he wanted to help her. After all, she had helped him forget about his dark thoughts and saved him. Ayana pointed out that he had also saved her during the robbery. Riku smiled and said that meant they were even. Not long after, the two of them headed to Ayana's house. When they arrived, Riku commented that the house looked a little old. Curious, he asked why she lived alone. Ayana explained that her parents had been away on a business trip for almost a year. Riku then asked if she ever felt lonely. She admitted that she did sometimes, but she knew she would see her parents again eventually. Riku told her not to worry about him anymore. He said he was feeling much better now. Hearing that made Ayana happy. A little later, Riku asked why she dressed like a gyaru at school. He wondered if that was her normal style. For some reason, the question seemed to remind her of something unpleasant. She awkwardly replied that it was simply for an image change. After that, Ayana took him to her room and warned him not to expect it to be very clean. Riku casually replied that he wasn't expecting much. His answer annoyed her a little. However, when he entered the room, he was surprised. Everything was neat and tidy. There was a cute bed and several soft plush toys around it. Ayana nervously asked if her room looked strange. Instead of criticizing it, Riku said the room smelled nice. More specifically, he accidentally mentioned that it smelled like Ayana. She immediately called him a pervert and told him to stop sniffing around. Trying to change the subject, Riku asked if she was really okay with him staying over. He wondered if she had a boyfriend. Ayana quickly denied it. Not only did she not have a boyfriend, but this was also the first time she had ever invited a boy into her room. Riku was surprised and asked how that was possible since she was a gyaru. Ayana frowned and asked what kind of image he had of gyarus. Afterward, she told him he was free to use the bathroom and washing machine whenever he wanted. Riku thanked her. As he watched how casually she treated him, he started wondering if she even saw him as a guy at all. Maybe she simply thought of him as a harmless puppy. Meanwhile, Ayana was relaxing in the bath. Riku's imagination began running wild for a moment. However, his thoughts immediately stopped when Ayana came out of the bathroom. She looked incredibly beautiful. Without her usual school appearance, she looked pure and elegant, almost like an angel. Noticing him staring, Ayana nervously asked what was wrong. Riku quickly replied that it was nothing. Still, when she sat down in front of him, He had no idea where he should look. A little later, Ayana asked where he planned to sleep. Riku said he would be fine sleeping near the entrance. Ayana immediately rejected the idea, saying his body would hurt in the morning. Riku asked what they were supposed to do then. To his shock, she said it would be okay for him to sleep in the room. The answer left him completely speechless. Even Ayana looked nervous while saying it. She then told him that he was worrying too much. Riku apologized. Ayana added that if he tried anything inappropriate, she would definitely get angry. Riku quickly assured her that he had no intention of doing anything like that. His serious answer seemed to surprise her. In the end, Riku decided to sleep on a futon on the floor. He insisted that the carpet was soft enough and that he would be fine. Even then, Ayana still looked concerned. Riku then asked if she was really comfortable staying alone with a boy. Ayana explained that he shouldn't get the wrong idea about her. She wasn't the type of girl who did those kinds of things. Riku bluntly summarized her answer by saying she was inexperienced in relationships. Embarrassed, Ayana shouted that he didn't have to say it like that and once again called him a pervert. After that, Ayana got into her bed while Riku settled down on the futon. The two wished each other good night. The next morning, Riku woke up early. As he looked at Ayana, he noticed tears in her eyes while she slept. He guessed that she must still feel lonely being separated from her parents for so long. At school, Ayana acted like a cheerful and fashionable gyaru. But seeing her now, Riku realized she was actually very innocent and kind-hearted. Gently, he wiped away her tears. He felt grateful to her because meeting her had changed his life. She was the reason he had decided to keep living. A little later, he woke her up and told her he was heading home. He reminded her to lock the door and said they would see each other at school. After leaving, Riku returned home and got ready for class. To be honest, he hadn't even planned on going to school anymore after Haruno rejected him. He still didn't know how he was supposed to face her. So he was completely surprised when Haruno suddenly appeared at his door the next morning and cheerfully wished him good morning. Riku found it strange that she was acting as if nothing had happened. Then Haruno asked him an unexpected question. She wanted to know where he had gone after school yesterday. Riku didn't understand why Haruno was asking that question. What he didn't know was that the events of that fateful day had already started connecting him and Ayana in a way that was never supposed to happen. Later at school, Riku had an awkward morning. Haruno kept asking him what he had done after school yesterday. Somehow he managed to avoid answering properly, but things felt different now. After being rejected by her, he didn't know if he could treat her the same way as before. As always, Haruno was popular and surrounded by people. Seeing that still hurt him a little. To distract himself, he looked elsewhere and noticed Ayana Hoshimiya. She was just as popular as ever. It was hard to believe that the cheerful gyaru everyone admired at school was the same gentle and innocent girl he had seen at home. Suddenly, Haruno appeared beside him. "What are you looking at?" she asked. Riku was startled by the sudden question. Then Haruno asked if he had been looking at Ayana. Riku replied that he could look wherever he wanted. Haruno pointed out that he usually spent his time looking at her instead. She also mentioned that there were many rumors about Ayana involving different boys. Riku immediately objected to those rumors. His reaction made Haruno suspicious. She wondered if he had somehow gotten involved with Ayana. Riku quickly denied it and claimed there was nothing between them. Haruno then mentioned that she had never heard of anyone confessing to Ayana before, which was surprising considering how beautiful she was. She also explained that Ayana was usually always together with her best friend, Kana. Just then, Kana called out to Ayana. A moment later, Kana suddenly shouted in shock after finding out that Riku had stayed at Ayana's house. Ayana immediately told her to lower her voice. However, it was already too late. Kana quickly asked if Ayana was dating Riku. Ayana strongly denied it. Unfortunately, the boys in the classroom had already overheard everything. They immediately started spreading rumors. Some claimed that Ayana was living up to all the gossip surrounding her. Others were shocked that she was connected to someone like Riku. Many of them were also jealous because Riku had always been close to Haruno as well. To them, it looked like Riku was somehow involved with the two most beautiful girls in the class. Meanwhile, Ayana was becoming visibly nervous. Kana apologized for accidentally causing such a misunderstanding. Riku knew none of this was Ayana's fault. She had gotten dragged into a mess because of him. Since she had helped him before, he wanted to help her now. Suddenly, Riku stood up. In front of the entire class, he loudly thanked Ayana for agreeing to go out with him. Ayana stared at him in complete shock. Riku continued acting and claimed that his confession had been so pathetic and emotional that she felt sorry for him and agreed. He even joked that she still wouldn't let him hold her hand despite letting him stay at her house. Ayana immediately asked what he was talking about. Ignoring her confusion, Riku kept going. He said that according to her, the relationship would only last for 1 month, and until then he would be under her care. The boys in the classroom instantly changed their opinion of the situation. Now they thought Riku was the pathetic one. In their minds, he had cried while confessing, and Ayana only accepted because she felt sorry for him. The fact that she wouldn't even hold his hand made them think she had very strong boundaries. Riku felt relieved. At least Ayana's reputation had been protected. Ayana tried to deny everything, but before she could explain, the teacher entered the classroom. Everyone quickly returned to their seats. Riku smiled to himself. As far as he was concerned, that was the best solution he could come up with. However, throughout class, he kept noticing Ayana staring at him. It was honestly kind of cute. At the same time, Haruno was also staring at him. That was much scarier. She clearly looked upset about being lied to. After school, Haruno confronted him. She demanded an explanation and asked what had really happened between him and Ayana yesterday. She also wanted to know what he meant by confessing while crying. Then she asked if he had confessed to Ayana after she rejected him. Riku explained that everything happened afterward. That answer only made Haruno more frustrated. She asked if he would really date just anyone. Riku immediately denied that. He told her that she was still the most important person in his life. However, Haruno pointed out that his actions didn't match his words. Riku replied that they were only childhood friends now, so she shouldn't worry about it. Haruno frowned. She reminded him that childhood friends don't lie to each other. She had always been honest with him all these years. Riku quietly admitted that she was right. Then Haruno suddenly asked a strange question. "Why did it have to be Ayana?" she said. She looked genuinely hurt for some reason. Riku couldn't understand what she meant. He told her that it wasn't her problem anymore. That answer upset Haruno even more. She angrily told him not to talk to her anymore and ran away. Riku tried to explain that there was nothing between him and Ayana, but she was already gone. Thinking there was nothing else he could do, he decided to head home. As he walked through the corridor, he noticed someone waiting at the far end. It was Ayana. For some reason, seeing her waiting for him made him happy. Ayana told him it was getting late. Riku replied with a forced smile that everything was fine. However, she could tell something was wrong. She gently asked if something had happened. Then Ayana told him that she had decided to forget about everything that happened earlier in class. Her innocent smile made Riku feel as if all his worries were slowly being washed away. He then asked if she was angry about what he had done. Riku explained that he only lied because he wanted to protect her reputation. Ayana shook her head. That wasn't what bothered her. The real problem was that everyone kept asking her questions afterward. Even so, she was more worried about Riku than herself. She asked if he was okay after all the rumors. Riku told her not to worry. As long as she was fine, everything was okay. Then he asked why she had been waiting for him. Ayana admitted that she wanted to walk home with him. Riku pointed out that even if everyone believed they were dating, they didn't actually have to walk home together. Ayana quickly clarified that it had nothing to do with the rumor. She simply wanted to spend time with him. Then she asked if that was a problem. Riku smiled and said he didn't mind at all. Ayana thanked him and asked if he was planning to walk home. As they walked together, Riku thought about how empty his life felt. His family was gone. Haruno had rejected him. Even if he returned home, nobody would be waiting for him. Eventually, they arrived near Ayana's house. Riku smiled and told her he would see her tomorrow at school. However, Ayana didn't seem happy with ending things there. Gathering all her courage, she asked him a surprising question. She asked if he would like to live with her. Riku froze. Confused, he asked what she meant. Ayana explained that she was still dealing with the stalker problem. Even after asking the police for help, nothing had changed. She admitted that having Riku around made her feel safe and relieved. Riku couldn't believe what he was hearing. He asked if she was really okay with the two of them living together. Without hesitation, Ayana nodded. "Yes," she answered. Ayana smiled and told Riku that she would be waiting for him that night. When evening came, Riku arrived at her house. Ayana warmly welcomed him inside. Looking at her wearing glasses, Riku thought that most people would believe she had two completely different personalities. At school, she was a flashy gyaru, but at home she looked cute, simple, and relaxed. Ayana then introduced him to her neighbor, Chiharu Mondo, who happened to be visiting. The first thing Chiharu asked was whether Riku was Ayana's boyfriend. Ayana immediately denied it. Riku also explained that he was only her classmate and temporary bodyguard. Chiharu said she was relieved to hear that, but she was still worried because of Ayana's stalker problem. Then she jokingly asked Riku if he was planning to do the things boys secretly dream about. Ayana immediately told her to be quiet. Chiharu then introduced herself properly. She revealed that she was an adult manga artist. Hearing that made Riku unexpectedly nervous. A moment later, she jokingly told him to call her Mom. Riku immediately pointed out that there was definitely something wrong with that request. Chiharu laughed and called him a pervert. After that, she decided she was probably getting in the way. Before leaving, she secretly slipped a manga into Riku's pocket and waved goodbye. Once she was gone, Riku looked at the manga and wondered what he was supposed to do with it. He definitely couldn't keep it. As he looked at the cover, he thought the main character looked a little like Ayana. Panicking, he quickly hid the manga under Ayana's bed. At that moment, his phone rang. It was Haruno. Riku answered the call and immediately noticed that she sounded like she had been crying. Concerned, he asked what was wrong. Haruno apologized for getting angry earlier. She admitted that she didn't understand her own feelings, but she didn't want to drift apart from him. Then she asked if they could still be friends. Riku agreed. After that, Haruno hesitantly asked if he was dating Ayana. Riku explained that a lot had happened and that he was currently staying at Ayana's house. The moment Haruno heard that, she started crying again. Riku told her that he couldn't explain everything right now, but there was nothing romantic going on between them. After ending the call, Riku couldn't help wondering why Haruno still cared so much about him after rejecting him. Looking at the time, he realized it was almost time to pick Ayana up from her part-time job. When he arrived at the convenience store, the owner immediately recognized him as the victim from the robbery incident. She jokingly asked if he wanted a job there because he was cute. Riku felt like she was inviting him into something suspicious. Putting that aside, the owner reminded him that if he was going to be Ayana's bodyguard, he needed to protect her properly. Soon afterward, Ayana finished her shift. The two of them headed home together on a bicycle. At first, Ayana was riding while Riku sat on the back. However, Riku quickly noticed that she was struggling. He suggested switching places and started riding instead. Ayana thanked him. After a while, she brought up something more serious. She mentioned that Riku seemed like someone who always handled his problems alone. Curious, he asked what she meant. Ayana first thanked him sincerely for coming to pick her up. Then she explained that she felt guilty for relying on him so much. She told him that her father used to keep all of his worries to himself. Because of that, she felt that Riku looked very similar. Ayana gently told him that it was okay to share his feelings when things became difficult. She would be happy if he opened up to her. Riku replied that he still wasn't completely okay, but he was managing. Hearing those words made him realize once again how genuinely kind Ayana was. He also felt grateful to Haruno for supporting him for so many years. Then Ayana suggested that they spend the next day together. She thought it would be nice to relax and do whatever they wanted. Riku agreed. Smiling, Ayana said it sounded almost like a date. Riku laughed and told her that she was a really wonderful person. His compliment immediately made her blush. Embarrassed, she told him not to say things like that so casually. The two of them smiled and continued home together. Hey guys, sorry for mid-editing, but I noticed a lot of you are watching my videos without subscribing. Our subscribe ratio is literally close to 0. I'd really appreciate it if you hit that subscribe button. It helps a lot. Thanks. Now, back to the recap. The next day, they went out together. Ayana was dressed like a fashionable gyaru as usual. Looking at her, Riku wondered if someone like him could even stand beside her. When she arrived, Ayana asked if he had been waiting long. Riku replied that it had only been a short while. She pouted and said he should have told her that he had just arrived. A little later, she noticed that he seemed unusually quiet. When she asked what was wrong, Riku honestly admitted that he was simply thinking about how cute she looked. Ayana thanked him while blushing again. After that, they went to watch a movie together. During the movie, Riku jokingly mentioned that if a boy and a girl watched a romantic movie together, people would call it a date. The comment caught Ayana completely off guard. She immediately started coughing. Riku quickly handed her his drink to help. After taking a sip, Ayana suddenly froze. She realized she had just drunk from the same cup as him. To her, it felt like an indirect kiss. She became embarrassed and claimed that Riku had stolen her first indirect kiss. Riku argued that it didn't count. However, Ayana insisted that he should take responsibility. That only left Riku confused about what exactly she expected him to do. For a while afterward, Ayana acted a little distant. She quietly explained that first experiences only happen once in a lifetime. Wanting to cheer her up, Riku told her that he would take her anywhere she wanted to go next. The offer immediately restored her good mood. Excitedly, Ayana suggested going to an arcade. When they arrived, Riku noticed many new games that hadn't been there the last time he visited. Ayana then challenged him to a game of air hockey. Riku assumed it would be an easy win. Instead, he was completely destroyed. The final score was 10-1. Proudly, Ayana revealed that she had once been known as the air hockey princess in her neighborhood. Riku couldn't believe how good she was. A little later, he noticed that her shirt had become slightly see-through because of sweat. Not wanting her to feel embarrassed, he quickly guided her to a more private area. There, he quietly explained the situation and suggested waiting until it dried. Ayana thanked him for being so thoughtful. Then she nervously asked if she smelled bad. Riku honestly replied that her scent was actually pleasant. Changing the subject, he thanked her for everything she had done that day. He admitted that he had really enjoyed himself. For the first time in a long while, he had been able to relax. Ayana smiled and said she was happy because she had taken lots of pictures with him. She pointed out that he wasn't very good at smiling in photos. Riku admitted that he couldn't help it because he rarely smiled these days. Ayana then told him that he would need to smile much more from now on. At that moment, the sound of a truck horn echoed nearby. The noise instantly triggered painful memories from Riku's past. Without thinking, he rushed toward Ayana and hugged her from behind. Ayana froze in shock. Caught completely off guard, she nervously told him that things were moving way too fast. She joked that they should get to know each other better first. Still shaken, Riku asked what had happened to the truck that was coming toward them. Confused, Ayana looked around and explained that nothing dangerous had happened. The traffic light was green. The driver had simply used the horn while passing by. Only then did Riku realize that the danger existed only in the memories he was still carrying inside him. Riku quickly realized that he had misunderstood the situation. Embarrassed, he apologized to Ayana and explained that he thought a vehicle was about to crash into something. Ayana smiled and said it was fine. After all, he had only reacted that way because he was trying to protect her. Riku agreed, but he still felt a little guilty about suddenly hugging her. Seeing his concern, Ayana reassured him that she wasn't angry at all. Instead, she thanked him for trying to keep her safe. Later that night, while relaxing in the bath, Ayana couldn't stop thinking about what had happened. The memory of Riku hugging her kept replaying in her mind. He had even held her a little tighter when he thought she was in danger. The more she thought about it, the faster her heart started beating. The idea that Riku would risk himself to protect her made her feel strangely happy. At the same time, Haruno was having a much harder night. Earlier, while walking home, she had seen Riku hugging Ayana from behind. Watching them together had upset her deeply. Tears filled her eyes as she called Riku a liar. The next morning, Ayana was having trouble waking Riku up. He was sleeping incredibly deeply. She couldn't help wondering how he usually managed to wake up on his own. Eventually, Riku opened his eyes. Ayana immediately told him to brush his teeth, wash his face, and hurry up before they were late for school. As Riku listened to her, he felt strangely nostalgic. Living with Ayana still felt a little awkward, but it also felt warm and comforting. They even had matching cups. For a moment, it almost felt like they were a couple living together. After getting ready, Ayana handed him a homemade bento. She told him to eat breakfast quickly. Riku smiled as he looked at the meal she had prepared. After thanking her for the food, he started eating. It was delicious. While he was eating, Ayana noticed that his hair was still messy. She told him to stay still and fixed it for him herself. As she carefully adjusted his hair, Riku wondered if this was what it felt like to have someone lovingly take care of you. Once she finished, they continued eating together. Later at school, Riku noticed that the students had stopped gossiping. Apparently, everyone had completely believed the story he made up before. Then Ayana suddenly asked if he wasn't forgetting something. Riku looked confused. As a joke, he asked if she meant a good morning kiss. Ayana immediately denied it. However, the students nearby overheard the word kiss and reacted with shock. They couldn't believe the two of them were flirting right there in class. Ayana sighed and told Riku that she was definitely going to talk to him later. Riku then asked what he had actually forgotten. Ayana reminded him about the bento she had made. At that moment, Kana overheard their conversation. She quickly realized that Ayana had prepared a lunch for Riku. Ayana greeted her with a cheerful good morning and casually explained that she had made lunch for both of them. Kana immediately gave Ayana a suspicious look. To her, it was obvious that Ayana cared about Riku. Ayana quickly became flustered and tried to deny it. Kana then asked if she was really taking this relationship seriously. She joked that she couldn't simply abandon Riku because he was like a lost puppy. Hearing that, Riku finally realized that Ayana really did see him as a puppy sometimes. Meanwhile, he still had no idea what Haruno was thinking. As he sat down at his desk, he noticed a mysterious letter waiting for him. The letter asked him to come behind the school building during lunch break. Curious, Riku wondered who had written it. When lunchtime arrived, he decided to go and find out. To his surprise, the person waiting there was Kana. The moment he saw her, Riku immediately said that he couldn't go out with her. Kana stared at him and told him he had completely misunderstood the situation. Confused, Riku asked what she wanted then. Kana got straight to the point. She asked if things were going well between him and Ayana. Riku replied that everything seemed fine. Then Kana asked if their relationship was really only supposed to last for 1 month. She also mentioned that Ayana wasn't very experienced when it came to boys. Riku admitted that he had already noticed that. He then asked if Kana wanted him to break up with Ayana. To his surprise, she shook her head. Instead, Kana told him that Ayana had been much happier lately. She honestly believed that Ayana liked him. Riku was completely caught off guard. Kana laughed and reminded him that she used to tease him for crying during his confession. At first, Riku wondered if she had called him here just to make fun of him again. However, Kana became serious. She explained that even if the relationship was only supposed to last 1 month, she hoped it would become something more. In her opinion, Ayana's feelings were obvious. Riku never expected Kana to genuinely support him and Ayana. Before leaving, Kana told him one more thing. She wanted him to treat Ayana well. Afterward, Riku walked down the hallway thinking about everything Kana had said. Could Ayana really like him? Suddenly, Kana appeared again. She asked if he was heading home. Then she repeated that she was serious about what she had said earlier. She truly wanted him to take good care of Ayana. Riku was startled by her sudden appearance. Just then, Ayana arrived. She looked between the two of them and asked when they had become so friendly. Kana immediately made an excuse and ran away. After she left, Ayana turned back to Riku. She asked if he and Kana had gotten along that well. Riku shook his head. He explained that they had only talked during lunch break. Naturally, Ayana became curious about what they discussed. Riku honestly answered that they had been talking about her. Ayana immediately felt embarrassed. For some reason, Kana often acted more like her mother than her best friend. At the same time, she also found it strange that Riku had started calling her by her first name so naturally. Still, she decided not to think too much about it. Meanwhile, Riku couldn't stop thinking about what Kana had told him. If Ayana really liked him, then talking to her suddenly felt much more awkward. Later, while walking home together, Ayana noticed that something seemed off. She asked him what was wrong. Startled, Riku quickly claimed that he was acting the same as always. However, Ayana could tell that wasn't true. After a moment of silence, Riku suddenly asked her an unexpected question. "Is there someone you like?" he asked. Ayana immediately became nervous. She asked why he would suddenly ask something like that. Riku explained that since they were living together, he wanted to understand her better. Ayana hesitated before answering. Then she quietly admitted that there might be someone. However, she wasn't completely sure yet because she had never felt this way before. Naturally, Riku asked who it was. Ayana shook her head. She told him that she wasn't ready to tell him yet. At that exact moment, her foot slipped. Before she could fall, Riku quickly grabbed her hand. He asked if she was okay. Ayana nodded. Her face turned slightly red as she pulled away. Then she warned him that if he kept asking too many questions, she might stop talking to him. Riku immediately apologized. Seeing his reaction, Ayana smiled and told him not to look so depressed. Riku insisted that he wasn't feeling down. However, Ayana disagreed. She said he looked exactly like a sad puppy after being called out. Riku asked what that kind of face even looked like. With a playful smile, Ayana held out her hand and told him to give her his paw like a puppy. Riku happily played along. Ayana laughed and told him he was really funny. After that, the two of them continued on their way. Along the way, Ayana took him to a cafe that she often visited with her friends. There, she ordered a giant sundae. Looking at the enormous dessert, Riku asked if she could actually finish it by herself. Ayana admitted that she wasn't sure. She had only ordered it because she was curious and wanted to try it at least once. Now that it was sitting in front of her, she realized it was far too much for one person. So she handed Riku a spoon and suggested they share it. Riku suddenly became nervous. Sharing a dessert like this felt like something real couples would do. Now that he was aware of it, he couldn't stop his hand from trembling slightly. Every time he looked at Ayana, his heart started beating faster. That confused him. Haruno was supposed to be the only girl he felt this way about. So why was Ayana making him feel like this? Meanwhile, someone was quietly watching them from outside the cafe. It was Haruno. She had happened to pass by on her way home and spotted them together. From her point of view, Riku and Ayana seemed far too close. Ayana had even made him give her his hand like a puppy. Watching them laugh together made Haruno feel unexpectedly upset. As she stood there, she remembered the days when Riku felt completely alone after losing his family. Back then, she had always been there for him. But now, seeing him having fun with another girl hurt more than she expected. She couldn't stop thinking about the image of Riku hugging Ayana from behind. Riku had always been by her side. So why was he smiling like that with someone else? Haruno felt that everything had started because she rejected him. Before she knew it, tears were running down her face. When she saw the two of them leave the cafe, she quietly followed them. At first, she thought they were heading toward the station. Instead, she discovered something shocking. Riku was actually living at Ayana's house. Haruno waited outside for a while and noticed that neither of them came back out. That confirmed it. This was how Riku had been spending his time with Ayana, alone together. Unable to stop herself, Haruno began imagining what they might be doing right now. At the same time, she remembered the confession Riku had made to her. She asked herself why she was crying. After all, they had always been friends, and they could stay friends forever. But deep down, she realized that wasn't what she truly wanted. She had always imagined staying by Riku's side for the rest of her life. Only now did she finally understand her feelings. Haruno had fallen in love with Riku. The question was whether she had realized it too late. She wondered if she still had a chance after everything that had happened between him and Ayana. Meanwhile, back at Ayana's house, Riku was helping bring in the laundry before the rain got worse. While sorting the clothes, he accidentally stared a little too closely at Ayana's underwear. The next moment, Ayana smacked him on the head. She demanded to know what he was looking at and jokingly threatened to cut him into pieces. Riku quickly defended himself. He pointed out that she had invited him into her house so casually. Ayana immediately told him that wasn't an excuse and warned him not to do it again. The two of them were relieved that they had managed to bring the laundry inside before the weather got worse. Outside, the rain was pouring heavily. Ayana commented that the storm seemed much stronger than usual. Trying to lighten the mood, Riku joked that situations like this were bound to happen when a boy and a girl lived together. Ayana instantly reminded him that he had been staring at her underwear. Riku fell silent. With a teasing smile, Ayana said that guys always did things like that. However, Riku quickly fired back. He reminded her that she had also looked at his underwear before. Ayana immediately tried to defend herself. She claimed she had only been ironing his clothes at the time. Unfortunately for her, that wasn't much of a defense. Realizing it herself, she turned bright red and apologized. Riku proudly declared that since he was such a generous person, he would forgive her. A little later, Ayana suddenly mentioned that it felt like something was missing. Almost immediately, Riku's phone started ringing. The call was from Haruno's mother. After answering, Riku was surprised when she asked if Haruno was with him. Riku replied that she wasn't and asked if something had happened. Haruno's mother sounded worried. She explained that Haruno was missing and wasn't answering any of her calls. The moment Riku heard that, he became seriously concerned. It was already 10 o'clock at night. If Haruno still hadn't come home, something could be wrong. Her mother explained that she had already contacted Haruno's friends, but nobody knew where she was. Because of that, she was planning to contact the police. Ayana had overheard the conversation. She also looked worried after hearing that Haruno was missing. Outside, the rain was still pouring heavily. Even so, Riku immediately stood up. He said that he had to go look for her. Even if he had no idea where to start searching, he couldn't just sit still. Ayana nodded and handed him her umbrella. Then she told him to be careful. Riku thanked her and rushed out into the heavy rain to search for Haruno.
Please!
Subscribe.
I need this! My mom is kind of homeless.